Hello everyone, it's Lennon. I'm on the floor today. Because a couple of videos have come out that, this is not really a VR. It's more like inspired by. I seem to do those a lot lately. But anyways, Juli over at Peekaboorose did a video about a week ago, since filming this, about her VR to Mixtress Rose, or Mixtress Rae, I think it's Rae, about deck overwhelm. There's deck overwhelm talk, there's compulsion buying talk, there's using decks, whether you're just purchasing them for the act of purchasing, for the thrill. Anyway, and it got me thinking of my own tarot cabinet that is this thing. Okay, it's actually an old sewing machine, but the sewing machine is not working anymore. So what used to be the thread drawer is now my tarot drawer, and all my tarot decks that I have are in this drawer, plus some oracle decks that I don't really use a lot. So I wanted to go through them and chat about these concepts. I feel like it kind of goes hand in hand with another thing that the community has been talking about, and that's tarot ennui. Like this feeling like our decks are no longer satisfying us, even when we just actively decide to get them out and play with them. One thing I have been loving is that more and more people in the community are doing deep dives with their decks, and I think that's so beautiful. I actually have decks that are like on top here. Like this is basically like an altar / sacred space / catch-all for all my tarot / witchy shit. It just makes it easier for me to put it all up when I have people over, because a lot of my family would not understand my love of this stuff. So I have to be able to shove it all into something, But anyways, a couple of decks are up here on top of the table, and I'll show y'all those too. So people are doing more deep dives, which I like. They're actually actively using the decks that they own. So that kind of takes away too, because it inspires the people that have those specific decks that these people are doing deep dives with. It inspires us to get the decks out with them and actually actively use our own. Like the Hoodoo Tarot. I know Kim over at Abundant Life, I have not been able to catch one of her videos like live, but I do go back and try to see what people are saying and stuff about the Hoodoo Tarot. So that's up here with my guidebook, which is annotated to hell and back because I have been studying that. I have a couple of summer decks up here. The Tarot of the Moon Garden, which is like my all-time favorite, inner child deck, like a deck that when I need that link back to unicorns and butterflies and shit like that, I tend to want to get this deck out. It's just full of, it makes me feel like the magical hour of twilight, like where the sky is that deep indigo color before the stars have emerged. The fireflies are just starting to come out and fly about, and you can catch them. They're groggy because they're nocturnal beasts, so they're groggy that time of the evening, and we get a little bit more active as the night progresses. But there's just something about this particular deck that makes me want to build castles in the sky. So I've been working with this for this summer. And then I've got, of course, my Dane Darcy Mermaid Tarot, which this tuck box is a bitch. Like, I literally have to almost get a butter knife out to freaking get it out of this tuck box. And I know a lot of people don't keep their decks in their boxes. They put them in a bag or whatever. But you're going to be mad at me once I open this drawer. You're going to be like, you've kept it in that beat up box and didn't get a bag? It's like, no. I didn't. So, This is beautiful comic book type art, you know? Oh, I think the only deck that is not here that I own is my brand new Holly Simple, which I just did like kind of like a walkthrough first impressions because there was a new edition that came out, and that's over on like one of my video tables, so that's not here either. Literally, I don't think I'm missing a deck. And then of course I keep, at all times, I keep 3 decks on top of here. No matter what, I keep 3 decks on top of here, and that is my Centennial, so gotta have a Rider-Waite up here, and 2 versions of my Thoth, because I tend to study the Thoth way more than any other deck. And I have the untrimmed version, which is this beautiful untrimmed version here, and a trimmed version, because I kind of go through stages where I don't really know which one I want to work with, and I just kind of decide in the moment when I come over here and get it out. So those stay on top the whole time. They never get put up in the drawer. So anyways, but as I'm showing you the decks, I probably won't be able to do both at the same time. I can't multitask like that. What I want to say is that please go watch Juli from Peekabooorose's VR, which I'll leave below, to Mixtress Rae's original video, which I'll also leave below. And then go check out Kim over at Abundant Life for her Hoodoo Tarot deep dive. And then also Corvin at Tail Raven Tarot. They are doing a deep dive of our tarot. So all of it's beautiful. All of this beautiful stuff is happening in our community. Go check it all out. But there's been some talk. Oh Lord, there has been some talk of tarot ennui, decks not satisfying us, which I think results in somewhat. I believe, in my own humble opinion, I believe that could be a result of you buying just for the act of buying. You're not actually like wanting to use, like actually participate with the deck, you know. So that could go hand in hand, but then that could lead to tarot ennui. Not knowing, you've got too many decks. Either you've got too many decks and you don't know which one to use, or you've used the deck that you've purchased enough to satisfy that need for having that deck, and then you put it up in the drawer, and then the need comes about again. You're like, I need something different. I need some new art to look at, you know. I think one thing that helps me is reading. I read a lot of books, fantasy and romance and reference materials. I read a lot, and that helps my compulsion as well. Now, I do have my compulsion in buying things is books. I'm always buying books, and it's sad. It is sad. Like, over the weekend, I went to a bookstore with the fam, and I brought my own, like, you know, those plasticky grocery store bags, and I had the whole thing full by the time we were at the checkout. And my husband looks at me and he was like, you realize you've got 50 on the coffee table that you need to read, right? And I was like, yeah, but I got a coupon, you know, like, so I read a lot, and that actually helps me to get my mind. It's almost like that's my escape. And tarot is a lot of other people's escape. Like, are you using the decks that you are using to somehow escape the reality? And I guess that's something that I would think about too, is that I use books as my sort of life is getting me, and I need to go to like some distant planet right now. I need to go be with the ice barbarians. I need to, you know, I need to go back to the highlands, like anyway. So that got me thinking about a video okay, all this is leading up to something, I promise. It got me thinking about a video that Anna over at Anna AstralLady Tarot did about shopping your own shelves. So going through your tarot drawer or your tarot cabinet or whatever, reorganizing it to get a feel for what you have, and you may find something that would give you that same kind of feeling of window shopping, right? So I want to do that today because I tend to go through seasonal cycles like a lot of tarot readers, where just like decks like this, you know, it's summer, you know, so you want to get the mermaidy decks out and you want to get the twilighty decks out and stuff like that. You kind of go through seasons, but I don't know. I don't come into the drawer enough, I don't believe, to suppress the compulsion if it's there. And I don't mean to use that term lightly. I don't want to use that term lightly. I'll say the need. I'll say the need instead of compulsion. I think that is a more correct, because I don't want to limit someone who actually does have that condition. So, anyways, back to Anna, she made a video about shopping your own shelves, and I thought I would do that. I would go through my decks and see if something jumps out at me that I would want to work with. That wouldn't be one that I'd pull out for summer, you know? So, let's get started. And this drawer, it doesn't want to stay up, and I just feel like the whole damn thing is going to come in. This is definitely one of my seasonal decks. But I'm going to play with this sumbitch tonight. It's my tarot, the Tarot of La Dracula by Travis McHenry. He makes some sexy decks, okay? I'm just going to say, he makes some sexy decks. And I actually won this in one of his giveaways, so I was like fangirling like a groupie. But I actually have a walkthrough of this, so you can go back whenever the hell it was and watch it. But this is just like a woodcut. It's like black and white. Actually, it's like parchment paper and black, not white and black. But it's so beautiful, and it like accounts Vlad's life and his I don't know, his nature, like his evil nature. I don't know, it's just, it speaks to somewhere in the dark recesses of my soul. Anyway, I'm not gonna show you like cards from all these decks. I was just gonna pull them out. And it did come, this one, coincidentally enough, even though I was just bitching about not having bags, this one did come with like a beautiful green bag. I did wonder why green. Why did you pick green, Travis? Like, it could have been blood red velvet. Like, why wasn't it the color of blood? Maybe that was a conscious thing that he did. Because he did do the occult tarot, which was like a red and black deck. I don't know. I just really would have liked, maybe I'll get a red velvet bag for the Vlad Dracula deck. Anyway, my last purchase was this deck. I bought this Voyager Tarot about a year ago. Please go check out Regina S. She does some fantastic videos about like tarot cards and life. It's just fantastic. She's a phenomenal woman, and she does offer classes, I think through her website, or maybe it's readings, like reading type things, readings about your life. And she's just got a great program. Go and check her out. She actually inspired this purchase. She talks the deck up a lot. She actually took the class, I think, back when this deck came out. So it's a collage deck. The backs were fascinating. Like, I didn't know until I got the decks, but the backs is DNA. Our DNA. This is us on the back. This is everyone on the back of a tarot card. Like, that is just fantastic. Anyway, is this upside down? Yes. This is Censor, Woman of Wands. You see how it's kind of collage-y? And there are pictures on top of pictures on top of pictures. It really is like an intuition deck. Like, so if that ain't your cup of tea, then that ain't your cup of tea. But I don't know. After studying the deck for a few months, I realized I did have to have it in my collection. But I really did go on a vision quest on Google for like months before I hit the buy now button. Anyway. Ooh. This is another seasonal deck for me because I mainly use this in my crone time, which directly links with my spiritual practice. This is my beautiful Tarot of the Crone. And Ellen Lorenzi Prince has some more for sale on her website. I'll leave it below. If you don't have this deck and you've been interested, because she comes out with new printings, and then it's like a batch of 250 or whatever, and then they go out of print really, really fast. And I just was on her website the other day because I've been battling with getting a second copy because I beat this one up when I use it, and I love it. And if something ever, this is almost like one of those decks that I will want to be burned with me when I'm cremated. Like, it's just something about the relationship I have with this deck. So, that is my Tarot of the Chrome. Right up here at the top, because it's probably my most popular. Then, okay, I have my Tree Whisper Oracle here. So happy that Mags is back on YouTube, guys. I cannot even stress how much I've been missing her and Toby. And I have been using this. So, you know, well, she's actually got a new one coming out called The Secret Garden. And I know that she doesn't know this, and she probably didn't link it to the children's story, but The Secret Garden story was my absolute all-time favorite children's book. So I'm going to have to reach out to her via email and see if I can get that copy. So that will probably be my next purchase. Then I have my $5 Marseille, which is just a cheapy-ass Marseille that I get out. Sometimes, randomly, someone in the community will come out with a Marseille-style video, like a tips and tricks, and it'll make me want to get this out and play with it. Then I have the Shrine of the Black Medusa, which I never would have pegged myself as a collage person, but this gives some bomb-ass, hit-you-in-the-face readings that I love. Every single time I've worked with this, it has hit me right in the heart. So, ooh, got my Forest of Enchantment, which is a beautiful, like, fairy tale type deck, I guess. And I pride myself, like, I wouldn't even say pride. I praise myself on this edge job. Okay? Like, look. I did it in this, like, forest green, and then just the corners I did in, like, a navy, light navy type of a color, like a cadet blue. And it perfectly matches the backs of this card. That shit looks professional. I just can't get over it. So, pretty proud of myself for that. I don't use this one that often. And then my Minoan, which is another Ellen Lorenzi Prince deck that I don't get out very often. This is a summary deck because it's based on the Minoan culture, which it was a very seaporty type of a civilization, very much ocean-based civilization. So it does make me think of summer. Sorry, I had to go do something in the oven. It smells delicious. It smells like Italy in here. I got some meatballs cooking. Oh, my Light and Shadow Tarot. I don't get this one out a lot either. That's because it came so big, okay? Like, to fill this whole box. That's a huge deck. The decks were this whole box size, right? And it was like the Tarot Noir, which is a deck I don't have, but everyone complains about. So I had to trim it to be able to use it, because I want to use my decks. Beautiful backs. It's like all four of the symbols. Anyway. And it's so thin. This is like paper, like paper, you know? But this is the deck that is Rider-Waite and Thoth combined. Like, so beautiful. This is actually another woodcutty deck that just, I love it. I'm trying to get one that you would recognize as a mixture between Thoth and Rider-Waite. I guess like this, you see like there is a figure here, like there is in Rider, but then there's these flowers, like they have some in the Thoth. So it's a beautiful deck that I don't reach for a lot. My Mythology of Finicra. This is like my most prized deck. And you really, I think some people get intimidated by decks like this that have like a specific theme. Like, for instance, this is Finnish mythology, so you wouldn't really think that you would relate. But as soon as you start reading the guidebook, which is on my nightstand, because sometimes I'll just pick that shit up at random, bibliomancy it, and read and it's like a bedtime story. That's it. And, you know, throughout the bedtime story regime you get to know the cards too. So it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful deck, beautiful images. The art just speaks wonders to me. I mean, Susanna did a just fabulous job. So I think some people get intimidated by themed decks like this, where there seems to be one, you know, mythology. But if you really want to study it and learn it, and some things happen. Some things happen with it. My damn box is falling apart. What's next? I'll go to the back, the very back. Oh, another piece. You know, this used to be a self-love deck for me, like a very powerful self-love deck, but I don't reach for it anymore. I no longer have that relationship. I love it for what it used to do for me, but I no longer have a good relationship with it. So it's been in the back of my tarot cabinet. That should say something, right? Oh, then I have my Golden Girls tarot. This is just like a kitschy TV show deck. I mean, they've come out with all kinds of TV shows now, like the Friends one and, you know, the RuPaul one and things like that. I think it's all the same creator that does this, but it's just based off of the show of Golden Girls. And as a child, I loved this damn show. I wanted to be Sophia so bad. And I'm not saying too much right here, but I think it was the character of Sophia, this 80-year-old woman that was feisty and wanted to make money, go out and work, still drive a car, and she was so fiery and feisty that I think the character of Sophia made me not give a shit about being old. It actually completely reversed it for me. I think I value that show because of who the character of Sophia was to me. And then I have my Ancient Feminine Wisdom, which I don't reach for because there are, as soon as the Dark Goddess, I got the Dark Goddess deck as a gift, I realized that there are so many more goddesses, inclusive goddesses, that are included in that deck that aren't in this. And so, as beautiful as this deck is, and was when I started learning about all the goddesses, or some of the goddesses, I realized that this didn't include a lot of very popular even goddesses. And I needed that. And I guess that leads me into my main point with this. I have grown into someone that doesn't buy decks that are just pretty anymore. I have almost curated my deck buying process. I have wanted to buy a couple of decks recently in the last year and have looked at the images and checked the creators out. I do a lot more research when it comes to the deck itself and the creation process and the author and the illustrator, the creators of the deck, even collaborators even. I try to research all of that. And then if they don't make the damn cut with their message, their mission statement as a fucking artist, I cut that off my wish list. I have crossed out so many decks that claim to be this and claim to be that, and a lot of decks don't make the cut anymore. And I'm not mad about that. I'm happy about that. I'm happy that I'm able to look for, I'm a little bit more open with what I'm looking for. I'm looking for real in my decks. And to be honest, it's not really happening. So, here's my Shining Tribe. This is by the lovely Rachel Pollack. This, hand-drawn, hand-illustrated deck. This is actually a beautiful deck. I like the spirituality link. And I know a lot of people you don't have to be religious or, secular or even spiritual. You could be atheist and still like tarot. But this actually does have like a sacred spirituality with it. And I like that link. So there's that. It's my Haunted House Tarot. I keep wanting to say that. It's Tarot of Haunted House. Somebody needs to tell Sasha Graham that that's not grammatically correct. Tarot of Haunted House. That's not grammatically correct, and it fucks me every time. Anyway, this is a beautiful deck that I get out like around, you know, Halloween. But to be honest, it does give good messages. So I may get this out. Maybe it's so freaking hot here that I want to get out my autumn decks to zhuzh up fall. Who knows? Then I have, this is my Spirit Halloween Store tarot deck. I bought these for the kitties to play with during Halloween and stuff. If they want to like pretend to be a fortune teller, then here's you a $7 deck that you can play with and beat up and I don't care about. Then this is my Veilleville. It's not the Bacchus. It's the Veilleville Tarot. It's a rendition of a French Marseille. Or a Marseille is French, but it's a specific French Marseille. And the art spoke to me. I liked this kind of weird vibe with it. I mean, it did look very classic. It looked kind of homemade. Like, it even looked like someone got their 5-year-old to color it. But I think that just adds to it. So, there's that. In the bottom, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here. Oh, this is my Greenwood, which I backed with a Cezanne painting. And I've kind of oracled it. Because for the life of me, I don't know which card is what now. But it's no skin off my nose if I don't know it, you know. Oh, I already showed that. It's a beautiful card. They've got beautiful images, but I've trimmed it so much now that I can't even tell what's what. So I use it kind of like an oracle, like an image-based oracle. Kind of like soul cards. I use it like that. What the hell? Snaps. Well, this was my grandmother's sewing table, so I guess that was in the bottom and I never took it out. Anyway, here's my Aquarian Tarot, which is the box is so beat up, and I don't reach for this because the art never really spoke to me, so that's stuck in the back. Oh, here's my plaid back, Rider-Waite, which was my mother deck. This is the deck that I learned tarot with. It's my ugly ass plaid back. It doesn't have Pam's calligraphy on it. It's just like, you know, the deck that's available everywhere. So that's in the bottom because I use my Centennial now. I have to like lock this in so it doesn't, the rest of the decks don't fall around. Okay, so a couple of years after The Wild Unknown came out, I went on some weird marketplace to buy it, and it ended up being this knockoff. Let me tell you, folks. They did return my money. Because I straight up told her that the owner of this weird shop, I was like, this was a knockoff. And she was like, oh my God, I had no idea. I ordered it from a warehouse in blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, well, take that off your website, you know. But anyway, I had a lovely chat with her. She did return my money. But I spent like $15 on this. I etched it in purple, but it didn't take because this is paper. Physical, not even cardstock. Like, this is copy, like almost a little bit thicker than copy paper, but thinner than cardstock. It is a shit rendition. But I did work with it. I tried to work with it, and it's bridge sized. It's like, it's tiny. Which I hated. But I did work with it to see if I would want to purchase the real version, you know? And I never did. Never got around to purchasing the real Wild Unknown. I never felt what the Wild Unknown cardstock feels like. It's obviously not bothering me, you know? Then I have my middle school, my very first deck ever, which is my Goddess of Knowledge cards, which is by Susan Sudden Belay. And there's text on the back, almost like Red Seed Oracle, which is a fantastic deck that has been on my wish list forever, but I don't know, it's just, you know, it's just too expensive for me. So, I just never got it. The shipping from the Etsy shop was just insane. I was like, nah, no. and never hit the buy now. So that was from middle school. I think that's the last, this is the last deck. I am so happy to have this, but I never use it. I was one of the very first people to ever get this deck, and it's the Roots and Wings Oracle. The cardstock sucks. Okay, I've even watched when I got this. I watched a couple of unboxings, and people loved this. It feels like velvet. Like the laminate on this is like a weird velvet feel, and it makes the cards feel weird on top of each other. Like I don't know. I hate it. I hate the cardstock, but. And that's not, I don't think that's the reason I don't use it. It's just because I don't really use oracles a lot. And I guess with this being like the first edition of this, like the you know, this person's magnum opus, if you will, I just never use it. Now I'm guessing like with this velvet though, I could beat this the hell up and it wouldn't ruin it. So there's that. That's a plus. But I never get this out. Like, I love this. Like, the star, the creator, I think her name is, starts with a K. Kathy? Maybe? Catherine? I don't know. Anyway, the creator of this deck, the cards had, like, tarot things with it that I found really, let's see if I can get to some that, like Father, Empress, Emperor. They have the moon, they have the star. Okay, the moon card is gorgeous. Strength. Very tarot-like, right? The World. I feel like this person could have made a tarot deck. And then I probably would have reached for it more. And it did come in this canvas kind of a bag with these like a little bitty mini card and a little token. I was like one of the first 10 people to ever get this deck. So I like it. I guess I like it for that. But never fucking used the damn thing. Okay, I think that is all. I think I do have, now that I'm thinking about it, I do have the Dark Goddess Tarot in my bedroom. As I work with that a lot in bed. I like read the guidebook and play with the cards in bed. So I have that one back there. And then all my oracles. Like, this is not even counting my oracles. Like, I got my soul cards up here. They stay up here too. Because I use those the most. And then I have a couple that are just scattered around the house. Like, not even in their box. They're just like laying on an end table somewhere. For me to pick up at random, I kind of like to do that with my sacred space. Like, that's why I don't have like an altar space. I just tend to throw stuff where I throw it. And it inspires me when I like sit in a certain spot. I'm like, oh, let me shuffle and play with that. You know, it's just something I do. But so yeah, this long video, 35 minutes, was just about shopping my shelves. I did get some ideas about some decks that I would like to use. So I got my Tarot of the Haunted House towards the top here, my Tree Whisper Oracle by the lovely Mags, and my Tarot of La Dracula. So the next time I open, it'll inspire me to use some of the decks I already have. So, tarot on, compulsion to buy decks, buying too many decks, and then that leads to either having too many for you, and then, or it leads to tarot ennui, where you don't know which deck to use when. But then really, I would sit down and think about the decks that you are buying, make a list of what you want to see in a deck. When I curate my deck purchases now, And the last deck I bought was a year ago. It was a Voyager. I'll get a notion and I'll want to buy a deck, and then it'll go in one eye and out the other. I'll be like, no. Mm-mm. Especially if I learn something about somebody, like a creator, or if I learn something about the images, and I'm like, you know what? That's not accurate, or that's not really inclusive, even though you claim it is. You know, stuff like that. Like, those are important things to me. I don't know what's important to you, but I think writing down important things to you that you need in a deck, you need to see in a deck, you need the creator to be a certain way, a certain type of person. Maybe that's important to you. Art is subjective, so there's always that. But I'm glad that I'm able to, I guess, be a little bit more stringent on myself. I'm so picky now. And like I said before, I'm not really mad about it. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed this look into my tarot cabinet. And go watch all the videos I'm going to link in the resource section of this video. Much love.